Well, I hope you do. And if we see or hear anything, we'll be sure to let Sheriff Conley know.
Where are you headed?
We have business.
I was talking to him.
One final thought. What's good, everybody? It's your girl Tika Deshawn. Thank you all so much for tapping into All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts. Your girl had one final thought before we receive a brand new episode of Tyler Perry's Ruthless. And that thought is this specifically: the FBI literally had the highest in their hands. They had Daikon in their hands. They even had Joan in their hands, you guys. And they literally let them go. They literally let them go. They could have easily held the highest, held Daikon, held Joan, held the travel or the vehicle that was traveling behind the highest's Rolls Royce. They could have held them and sent help to the Rakadushi compound, but they failed to do so at that time. Why do you guys think they chose not to take the highest, you guys? They have all the evidence that they need. They know that the highest is literally a scumbag. They know that the highest is not treating the people on the compound well at all. But they still allowed him to get away, you guys. Again, now all the highest has to do is go to the bank, get more money, and if I were the highest, I would get that money and I would literally skip town and leave those people that are on that Rakadushi compound. I would leave them where they are. This is crazy. They literally had him in their hands. This is how the FBI ended up seeing the highest in the first place. We know Kate, Deputy Kate, was basically handcuffed to her car, her police car, because Andrew, who gracefully choked her out because he didn't want to take her life, which that was a decision that he made, you guys, which also tells me that he is not with the Rakadushi. But anyway, he left her there handcuffed to her vehicle. Of course, in the midst of that, prior to her getting handcuffed to the vehicle, she told Sheriff Conley that there was a suspicious man and he was walking towards the vehicle. She pulled her weapon, fired off her weapon, but Andrew was able to get the best of her and get her out of the vehicle so swiftly. And this is crazy because it literally took them no time to get up to Detective or Deputy Kate. And of course, Andrew got away, but it took them no time to get to her. So they're talking to her, asking her questions that could identify who Andrew was. They also asked her, how did he take the gun? Was he so that tells us that he could possibly be law enforcement. He could in Desiree's mind, she's thinking he's got to be one of us because they only teach us that trick, that maneuver as to how to take a weapon from someone. So they have an idea of who they think it is. But in the midst of all of that, the highest pulls up. The highest pulls up and they have a good old conversation with him. Where are you headed? I'm headed to handle some business. They ask Daikon, then they ask then they asked Joan, and actually Joan interjected herself in that conversation. However, Desiree made it clear, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to him. And Of course, Sheriff Conley is standing by acting as if he doesn't know them like that. But he says when they ask, who is this rolling up in this Rolls Royce? Oh, that's the one they call the highest. So Conley is being on his best behavior because he is currently being watched. That's number one. But then, you guys, like I said, they literally had the highest in their hands and they let him slip away. Oh my God, you guys. What did you guys think of that particular scene? It took me a minute to digest it, to get in my mind what actually happened. And now that I think about it, oh my goodness, they literally could have stopped the highest in his tracks at that very moment. However, I don't know why. I'm still confused as to why they let him go. So what are you guys' thoughts? What do you think was the reasoning behind the FBI, Desiree and Hal, and they even had backup. But what was the reasoning behind them, you know, letting him go? Yeah, there was a backup vehicle, but guess what? There were five of them to two, maybe two to four, four or five of them. You know, they would it would have been an even fight, and I'm sure they had more weapons than what the highest and Daikon and Joan even had. So it wouldn't have been an even fight. The FBI could have literally overtaken the highest and went to the compound and secured those kids, y'all. Y'all, the episode was crazy. Thank y'all for coming in, tapping in to my last and final thought of episode 6. I hope you guys return. I will be definitely giving you all a recap of episode 7. Or I'm sorry, yeah, episode 7. That is going to be coming on Thursday. Make sure you guys also check out our Ruthless Roundtable. We had a special guest, also known as Deputy Kate, come in and tap in and join us in the Ruthless conversation. We had an amazing time. It was literally all things ruthless, okay? All right, y'all. Well, that's about it. Once again, thank you all so much for tapping in. If you're finding me for the very first time, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you can receive reminders of brand new Ruthless content, okay? All right, y'all. Well, that's about it. Thank you all so much for tapping into All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts, and you already know, stay ruthless.